What the hell is happening in the news? This is Today in Media. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday. That means it's time for Today in Media, and that's when my co-host Amber and we go through the 5 most foolish takes that we've seen today. We're going to start off with a favorite, USA Today. Now, USA Today had an editorial which the entire liberal media fawned over itself, and you should have the headline up in front of you. Amber, tell us about this.
Basically, USA Today said that Trump was apparently not fit to even clean toilets.
Right.
Because he called
in the Obama presidential
because he called Senator Kirsten Gillibrand a whore, which he didn't. Yeah. This is all based on a false premise, which is that Trump's tweet about Gillibrand somehow implied some sexual undertone, even though he's used the exact same language about male politicians, and it's just Democrats reading their own sexist ideology into this tweet. Yeah,
it's true and utter insanity. So to not only, this is something that the president has refuted. This is something that the White House has refuted. To draw and surmise that it was a sexist tweet takes probably, I think you willfully have to be ignorant.
Right.
Well,
not
tweets.
Only that. How can you claim to know someone else's intentions when they're writing something? But I can't be that surprised because this is from USA Today, who thinks you can attach chainsaws to AR-15.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a good one. All right, we're going to move on to Velshi, a frequent target of this show because he's special. Ali had this recent interview on net neutrality. He got absolutely destroyed. Why don't we take a look at it?
People bundle the services they own. Why does AT&T offer DirecTV for free as opposed to Verizon TV for free?
They can't do is they shut out other people. So back to wireless. Everybody is zero rated right now because it's unlimited. You have unlimited data plans right now. Okay, so that whole argument is gone about whether or not some wireless provider is going to discriminate.
They throttle back after a certain amount of usage. I don't feel like we're having a really fair conversation here. I'm trying to have a conversation on the merits of the principle of unintended consequences of reversing net neutrality, and you're dropping a lot of legalese. We know full well that sometimes the Federal Trade Commission
the legalese are the merits, that's what's at play here, and maybe you haven't read these laws, you don't understand.
I'm very familiar with net neutrality, Robert. I'm really not that familiar with being condescended on it about the whole thing. I'm trying to say that there's a danger of unintended consequences.
Poor Ali Velshi on MSNBC is allergic to a few little things called facts. In this clip, he's talking to an FCC commissioner about net neutrality, and the FCC commissioner brings up these things called laws and codes and statutes, and Velshi is just having none of it. He just wants to talk about his liberal narrative. He has no interest in actually debating the merits of what net neutrality entails.
Yeah, I think what happened with all of these liberal journalists and TV hosts on net neutrality is that they went on Reddit, or they went and read one explainer on it and then decided that they're all giant experts. And then when they confront people with adverse opinions or different opinions on the subject, they think that they're literally insane and that they're going to raise the price of their Netflix. That's the one that we always hear about. And it's just, as a journalist, your job, especially in TV, is to parse facts and bring out the most relevant information to your guests. Velshi is basically acting like a 14-year-old Redditor in his complete disregard for the facts on net neutrality. And, as usual, we found out that he doesn't actually know what he's talking about. But, we're going to go on to another friend of Today in Media, Jim Acosta. All right, so Jim was caught spreading fake news on gun control and on gun deaths by Amber here. So Amber, tell us what happened.
Yeah, so Jim Acosta tweeted out some nice little mass shooting statistics on the anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting. Unfortunately, he shared facts from what is basically a partisan gun control organization that claimed there have been over 1,500 mass shootings in just the past 5 years. The problem is the definition used by this organization is so broad, it pretty much loses all meaning. They define mass shootings as basically any gun event where 4 or more people have either been injured or killed, and it doesn't have to be in a public place. It could be a gang shooting. It could be a drug-related shooting. So
which the vast majority probably
right. So their definition of a mass shooting would be like a drive-by in Chicago, which most people, 99% of people would not consider that.
Yeah, language matters. That's the whole thing behind all this debate is a mass shooting. The connotation of that word means a deranged individual or somebody who is a terrorist with the intent of inflicting mass death. uses a gun and kills a lot of people. A drive-by shooting in Chicago for the intent of a gang, settling scores between gangs, or a drug-related shooting, it is willful ignorance to say that that is a mass shooting. The left does this with terrorism all the time. Any act in which somebody uses, they'll be like, to a political end, they'll be like, well, why isn't the Las Vegas shooting terrorism? It's like, well, I don't know. Did he declare the allegiance to the Islamic State or say that he was acting in an explicit political motive before he pulled the trigger? No! So it's just mass shooting. They're still bad. But, they don't care about language. They only care about it whenever it fits their narrative, and they can expand the facts. Jim is guilty of this, as usual. But we'll move on to the New York Times. The New York Times claims that former President Obama only lied 18 times in 8 years. Shocking. And then said that Trump has lied 103 times in the last year. Once again, these legacy media outlets define truth and then hold politicians to the standard of that truth. That should scare the crap out of you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, how can you identify just 18 lies from Obama?
Lies?
We were able to pick out 3 within 5 minutes.
Right, exactly.
There's a great article on our website about this. But, I mean, come on, guys. This is clear bias for them to not even think to check maybe, I don't know, PolitiFact, Snopes, which are even liberal-leaning websites, and have identified 80 instances where Obama lied during his presidency. Right. And then again, in this op-ed, they claim that Bush and Obama were better than Trump because they didn't intentionally lie.
Yes.
As if that's somehow better.
This is just this utter crap. I mean, it's constant. Like, they try and define they try and define what they want the outcome to be. And then begin from that. They begin writing from the fact that they want to show that Barack Obama lied fantastically less than President Trump. Now, maybe that President Trump has lied more than President Obama, but it really depends on your definition of lie. Willful ignorance, willful misleading. I mean, is that a lie? I don't know. See what I mean? Like, this is all subjective, and that's why it gets litigated in the political space, and you guys get to find out get to decide whether the presidents are lying to you and whether they're not. You should never trust somebody's definition of the truth whenever it comes to politics. But finally, CNN, such a frequent hit here. I mean, it's just a recurring theme is that CNN drastically overstated the effects of the end of net neutrality, saying it is the end of the internet as we know it. Now, that's pretty stupid because the internet operated from its inception until 2015 under the current law that was just instituted yesterday. So how can it possibly be the end of the internet as we know it?
Well, here's the other thing, too, is that the internet is constantly changing.
Yes.
The internet, since its inception, has been a place of growth and innovation. The internet every day is somehow the end of the internet as we know it because it's always changing. So for them to complain that this might change the way the internet operates, and in many ways it's going to be a good thing because net neutrality has really drastically cut how much companies are willing to invest in the internet. But instead it's, people are going to die, the internet's going to collapse, and we're not going to be able to do all these things that we already do on the internet. It's just hyperbole, it's fear-mongering, and it's a classic tactic by journalism outlets to make you think that anyone who agrees with a position other than theirs is actually trying to actively harm you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just total liberal, it's just liberal hyperbole to its logical extreme. And we saw it all throughout the election, and most people started to tune out. That's why they have lower ratings, and that's why the historic trust in the media is at an all-time low.
And one more point on this.
Yes,
Sorry,
please.
Because this really bothered me.
Oh, good.
So CNN's Oliver Darcy tweeted out yesterday about the Daily Caller's Ajit Pai video.
Oh, right.
Claiming that it was an advertisement against net neutrality, but he has nothing to say about his own outlet publishing this headline that this is the end of the internet as we know it, as if that's not an advertisement for net neutrality. Give me a break, Oliver.
We'll see you around, Oliver. Thank you guys so much for joining us. That's Today in Media. It's been such a pleasure to be with you, and we'll be back at you soon. Sagar and Jetty and Amber with Today in Media.